The Switch 2 has finally
I don't know if
been
you've
announced
ever
and
watched
revealed to the
Ackman. He's a
world.
little bit
Can you even
extra
believe it?
sometimes,
A
but
new
I like
Donkey
him.
Kong 3D platformer, one we haven't seen in 25 years. This is a dream come true. This is heaven. I've died and gone to heaven. This new console and all these great new games, it's all gonna be available for the low price of what?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually pretty excited for Donkey Kong. I grew up on Donkey Kong Country, so like Donkey Kong seems like a game that I'd totally be down to play. But I don't know. There's still another Donkey Kong Country that I guess came out that I haven't played, so I need to go back and play that someday too.
What was it?
And it's going to cost $450. $450. $450.
$450. This is outrageous. It's unfair.
And that's just for the console itself.
Once I bought a Wii U, I made it run. Played some games in my time. Once I bought a Wii U, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a Switch?
What's up, everybody? This is the Homeless Man here, and today, the great gamer depression.
I kind of like how Ackman does these different personalities for different videos and stuff. I got a Wii U, and honestly, it was, looking back at it, like, yeah, I feel like that's kind of like what made the Switch happen, but like I feel like it was kind of a waste of a purchase.
Depression is upon us. This is my Great Depression outfit. I'm gonna take it off because it is obnoxiously hot, and not just because I'm the one wearing it. Hey-o.
Hey, that really sucked.
So in a 2-hour-long direct, Nintendo revealed the Switch 2 and
Yeah, I
all the
wouldn't
different
watch this.
features. They gave us a ton of info on the system.
I should have done
its
this on
upgrades,
stream, the Nintendo 2
downgrades,
Direct.
Those are important. A few brand new launch titles to look forward to, and a whole bunch of third-party support. 8 years ago, the Switch came out and started a new generation of consoles. And this is the dawn of a new generation. And would you look at that? The next Pokemon game? Looks like it's running off of a fucking GameCube.
That's so true. Like, it does not look, it looks somehow like, I feel like the graphics in the Pokemon games are just looking worse and worse. Like, it just doesn't look any, or not, maybe not worse, but it doesn't look any different than the last game.
A time that should be filled with excitement, nerdgasms, if you...
I will say, though, that, what was it, Arceus? Like, that game scratched that itch for me that I wanted when I was a little kid. And, like, I got heavy into Pokemon, and, you know, as a kid, I wished that real life was like Pokemon. And, yeah, it just, the whole being able to just, like, oh, pull out a Pokeball, throw it at a Pokemon and try and catch it. Like, that was what was in my head. And, yeah, it did that. But I don't know. I don't know if I'll be playing Pokemon for a bit. I might give it a few games and kind of let it get better.
will. But alas...
Were it so easy.
Nintendo is asking you to drop $450 on a Switch 2. That is the baseline price for people in the US, though I'm sure it's
pricey.
all fucked up in different countries as well.
Oh my goodness!
People are understandably frustrated. What? Why? I thought you liked spending money. Don't ever stop consuming. You love consuming. Don't ever stop. But why exactly are gamers upset with the Switch 2 and with these price tags? Is it worth picking up? Do we even know if this will be the final price of the console? Is the price going to increase or decrease? Why are pre-orders in the US suddenly being delayed? Who's fucking with my video games, god damn it? Now, I do want to give my first impressions of the Switch 2 and talk about some of the more exciting stuff.
Introducing Game Chat. With this feature, you'll be able to communicate with friends and family
I feel like Nintendo's a little behind the curve on that, but I'm glad that they're finally adding game chat to the game.
while playing a game.
But we'll have to do that later in the video because right now we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Because in Nintendo's first live stream after the Direct, people were spamming lower the price in chat. Obviously, this is the biggest talking point on the internet for the Switch 2. Not just the $450 price tag, but also, brace yourselves,
The games.
Some games, including Mario Kart World,
Yep.
are going to be priced at $80 for the digital edition, or $90 if you want to buy it physical.
Once I bought a GameCube, Luigi's Mansion, Melee, Wind Waker, and Prime.
Like I said, a little bit over the top sometimes,
Once I
but
bought a GameCube, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a game?
the $80 cost of a game. A single game. Why are you upset? Why are you upset? You love spending more money. You told me that yesterday, remember? Don't you know I'm gaslighting you? And this is all besides the other premium stuff and subscriptions Nintendo has been
I can't remember what the price was to upgrade these games. But I think it was something like $30. Like, I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's less than that, but still, like I heard that they were doing kind of like upgrade to the new version of the game, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's kind of cool, but like so if I get a Switch 2, I could still play like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, or actually Kirby and the Forgotten Land was a fun game.
stuff and subscriptions Nintendo has been shilling in the Direct.
Everything's more expensive, right?
Yeah, the accessories are more expensive than they've ever been. The new Pro controller is $80. A left and right Joy-Con, that's $90 now. They're $13 for the straps.
I'm here for
What?
money.
What?
Money.
Obviously, a big part of this backlash comes from the fact that Nintendo has always been the accessible, budget-friendly option for
$13
gamers.
for a
Nintendo may not
strap.
pack state-of-the-art
That's bad.
hardware, but their library is unquestionably top tier. They are the family-friendly brand, the dads and moms. If you're a dad or a mom who've got kids you gotta pay for and take care of and send to school, you're gonna want the cheapest, most convenient thing if you want to retain some semblance of those youthful hobbies you used to have. Look at you becoming a parent. Look at this guy, he reproduced. What a dork. I'm so lonely.
For a lot of families, when they look at $500 for the game of Mario Kart, I think you're gonna have we have a Nintendo Switch at home situation.
But once Nintendo
Yeah.
starts pushing this $80 price tag for these
Absolutely. And it, I growing up, hey Jake, how's it going? Thanks for the follow. Growing up, I never had like the next best console. I think I had like let's see. I never had a Nintendo 64 growing up. Like, my friend had that. So, like, I think when the 64 came out, I don't remember when that was, to be honest. But I think that's when we started playing, like, Super Nintendo. I was always, like, a generation or more behind on everything. And even then, we skipped stuff, too. I had a GameCube at one point. I had a friend's, like, hand-me-down, like, initial Xbox. And then, like, I got random money from, like, my biological dad. I didn't grow up with my dad. I grew up with my aunt and uncle. And I got random money from my biological dad. Kind of a try to buy your love type of situation. How's it going? Good. And then I went and bought a Wii. I don't know why I bought a Wii of all things, but yeah, they kind of were a scam. The Wii U, yeah. The Wii U was like, compared to a Wii, which I got a Wii U too, but I didn't really start keeping up with game consoles until more recently. And now I'm also like, all my kids have Switches. I have a Switch. They all have their own Switch. Maybe that's kind of I didn't get it when I was a kid, so I want my kids to have it kind of a thing. But like the Switch 2, like, and this price tag, like that whole idea of like, oh, we have a Switch at home. It's like very true, because like there's no way like I'm dropping, that for me to get me and all my kids a Switch 2, that would literally be like close to $2,000. Like, that's insane.
Switch to games, yar har fiddle-dee-dee, new piracy techniques are all right with me. Now, if Nintendo is able to get away with these $80, $90 price tags, no doubt Xbox and PlayStation in the competition are going to match that. They're going to adopt these higher price tags for more and more games.
Yeah, they're going
to.
to.
I'm not sure if it's 100% confirmed that physical copies are going to cost $90, but if true, fuck you. Why? What, you want to have a shelf of games?
Getting a
you want
little
to
chilly.
physically own it so you can look at that shelf and figure out what game to play? No, stupid. You want a digital library of games that you buy that you end up forgetting you have. Despite how cool the console might be, the things I'm seeing that I love about it, Nintendo is kind of shooting themselves in the foot by setting these price precedents. But who is entirely to blame? Because I don't understand this, Nintendo. I don't get you.
I don't get you. Don't get you no more.
Excuse me, Nintendo's biggest fanboy here. Okay, Act-Man, gamers are stupid. They don't understand, all right? Adjusted for inflation, this console is cheaper than previous Nintendo consoles. Games are cheaper adjusted for inflation than they were back in the 80s. These gamers are stupid. It doesn't make sense.
It also
Act-Man.
gets cheaper to make stuff, though.
You're right.
Video games are a product like any other, though. They are subject to inflation over time, but most publishers for a very long time were too afraid to raise the cost of.
And, I'll be honest with this. I'm kind of like talking on my ass. I'm not an expert on this, and I don't know all the details. But I feel like, yes, technically, if you look at it like a Nintendo compared to, some newer console, back then the cost of a Nintendo may be worth more than what a newer console costs today with inflation in mind. However, there's also been advancements in our technology and our ability to manufacture things, and I feel like that price alone has also dropped drastically, and that's why they can afford, because here's the thing, at the end of the day, if they couldn't afford to create these games at a lower cost, they just wouldn't do it, because at the end of the day, they are a business and they have to make money. So it just doesn't make sense that they it wouldn't make sense that they just haven't gone up with the times, if they couldn't get away with that for one reason or another.
Past $60, then it was $65, and then it was $70. But they found ways to monetize games in other ways, which we've talked about maybe once or twice on this channel, and the rest is history. As the co-founder of Costco once said, "If you raise the price of the hot dog, I will fucking kill you." This describes the sentiment among gamers around the $60 price tag. It's kind of something that's just etched into our being. New game comes out. Do I have $60?
I want to
can I
play
afford
that,
it?
but at the same time, I'm
ingrained
like,
in our heads for so long that any increase seems insane, because we've also been dealing with loot boxes, battle passes, paid progression systems, and a bunch of other shit we don't need to get into. But guys, let's be real. I mean, with GTA 6 around the corner, I'm sure Rockstar is going to stick with $60 price tag, right? Because why would they increase that? Now, let's put on our economy glasses so I can make sense of this for you. Let's start with the numbers. I like numbers because they don't lie. Thanks to the user JML Master, he has calculated the inflation adjusted price for each Nintendo console. And It's really not that crazy. The Switch 2 isn't middle of the road, but it's a little bit higher than that. It's still not the max, and it's not anywhere close to PS5 Pro's, $700? So what gives? Well, I'm going to throw some numbers up on screen of what gives. Basically, adjusted for inflation, the median income of a household in the US has barely gone up since 1985.
True.
House prices, meanwhile, have skyrocketed. What does this mean? It means people don't have disposable income.
Not enough cash, stranger.
That's why they're pissed. It's pretty simple. When more and more people start living paycheck to paycheck, then non-essentials like video games and hobbies become just that, non-essential. You will own less and you will be happy. Not to mention the incoming tariff sales tax that we're adding. Why do I have to talk about tariffs? Why can't you just let me be excited for a video game console? It's unfortunate then that real world politics could potentially drive up the cost of the Switch 2, and therefore I have to fucking talk about it. In a worst case scenario estimates I've seen, the cost of the Switch 2 could be increased by 50% by the tariff sales tax. Again, that's probably worst case scenario, but it says something that I feel like I have to prepare for that reality. Now, what has Nintendo done to prepare for these tariffs? Well, thankfully,
if it does raise that much, then
stockpile Switch 2
the likelihood that I'm going to be able to afford it just plummets.
So at the very least, the Switch 2s that are in the United States will be sold at the $450 margin, assuming. Some people have theorized that the cost is taking tariff sales tax into account. Upon looking at some recent articles, this is probably more likely, but who really knows what's gonna happen? Nintendo has updated GameStop, saying that they're
I wish that were the
moving
case, but I
pre-orders
don't think
to
that's the
Switch 2
case.
to assess the potential impact of the tariff sales tax.
And that's it right there. That's the reason why, right? Like if they had, you know, created the Switch 2 at a higher cost to already be kind of like planning for tariff costs, I feel like this wouldn't have happened. This whole like pause in pre-orders.
And evolving market conditions. This uncertainty is only going to spark further panic and demand once pre-orders are reopened and once consoles are being loaded onto shelves, especially amongst the hardcore Nintendo enthusiasts who would be willing to sacrifice their firstborn child to get one of these things on the release night. With enough panic and demand, you know who comes back?
I'm not one of
Everyone's
those,
favorite
sorry.
sequel, everyone's favorite businessman, Scalpers 2.
Oh,
With
God.
uncertainty of how much this is going to cost, it's going to be ripe for the picking for scalpers,
It's
I would imagine.
going
so
to happen.
There's another thing to look forward to. So we have no idea if the $450 price tag is going to stick. All we can be certain of is uncertainty. When people are confused, they get angry. It's really that simple. Regardless, this is going to be a bloodbath for people's wallets and bank accounts.
Yep.
I think gamers are more irate this time around because video games have always been an escape. I'm remembered of that Modern Warfare 2 video, how gamers dealt with the recession.
I mean,
And
we'll
so
still have
with so many
games.
people
It'll just
already strapped
won't
for
be
cash,
Nintendo.
They feel like they can't even afford the latest and greatest escape from life and reality. So that's most of the
Won't
bad.
be
Now,
dust, what,
let's
the
move on
dust
to the
bloods,
direct
dust,
itself.
yeah, dust,
I think this is what
dust
also
bloods,
makes it a
dust
difficult
blood,
pill to swallow,
dust
is
corn.
that this new Mario Kart looks
I keep
fucking
mixing
amazing,
it up in my
all
head.
right? They
It
added
does.
Skating.
It looks really
What is
cool.
this? Jet Set Radio Future? What is Tony Hawk gonna be a playable character? And wall jumps in a kart racer? Nintendo
I didn't know that
always
was added.
finds
That's cool.
ways to innovate on franchises that you wonder, like, well, what more could you do with it? All right,
Yeah,
to be fair,
that's
I
true.
think Nintendo is running out of characters because now we're getting hyped for Pal, but from like Moo Moo Farms. There's a reason Nintendo opened with Mario Kart World. It's because Mario Kart 8 sold 75 million copies. No doubt Mario Kart World is going to be a Switch 2 exclusive to drive sales to the console. It's a good strategy. The maps look great. The idea of being
It
able
looks
to go
really
off
cool.
the track
It-
and race to the next race and just fuck around with your buddies, that's very appealing to me.
Yeah.
Mario Kart World looks like a big W. What's next?
Introducing Game Chat.
It has taken Nintendo 23 years to catch up to Xbox Live. Nintendo is such a weird company.
I was
because
just
they're,
saying this,
always
like
behind
that they're-
on some
Yeah.
things, but way ahead of the curve on others. They're always at the peak of their video game development prowess, but when it comes to like something like voice chat, like, well, how does this work?
It's been around
Again,
for
that
how long now?
family-friendly brand image. Well, you know, voice chat
Oh,
on a
man.
Nintendo console. What could go wrong?
I live in Smethwick, Birmingham. If you want to fucking brawl, come down Smethwick Hospitality. I'll come out my house and I'll break your fucking legs.
I love how Nintendo always introduces these social features in the most like whimsical, childlike, innocent way. And meanwhile, I'm like crippled by years of Xbox Live PTSD. So here's the bad news. You're gonna have to pay to use Game Chat. Now, I'll give them credit. Game chat looks like it has much more applicability than something like Discord would have, where you can actually, like in Mario Party, see the expressions, the facial expressions of your friends as you fuck them in the ass and steal their stars. That's going to be highly important to me as a huge piece.
Yeah,
because
it feels like a digital couch co-op.
$80 for the game. Now they want you to pay a subscription fee to play the game online and to be able to use game chat.
I mean, it's
subscriptions.
It's not two separate subscriptions. You are paying for one subscription that gives you both. To be fair, if you're playing Nintendo Switch Online, you're paying for that already anyway. So they're just adding the capability behind that. And I feel like that will reduce the amount of like problems with I don't know, like harassment and stuff like that, because they could just ban a person's Switch account and they're less likely to just make a new one and pay for it again, you know what I mean? So having a little bit of a paywall reduces some of that kind of a headache, but I don't know.
I will say having a 10-month free period is great.
And there's this.
What is it? That stench. I've smelled it before.
Your voice is recognized by a microphone built into the system. It can pick up your speaking voice clearly, even from a distance.
Are bringing the Connect back.
Yep.
You know what that means? It means you and your friends are going to be witnessing God-tier levels of echo.
When it's noisy around you, your voice will still come through clearly.
Bullshit. Ain't no way Nintendo is coming into the voice game chat.
I'll believe it when I
this
see it.
late, and it's just gonna work. What Switch 2 screen share will look like? Yeah, probably. The fact that they're showing the screen share be a bit laggy indicates that that's probably what it's gonna look like, as opposed to, you know, having it look perfect in this presentation with the smoke.
It's gonna be
people buy the console.
Screen share is always
share,
like
and it looks
delayed and
shit.
laggy.
But this whole camera feed thing, I feel like, is absolutely going to create some viral marketing for the Switch camera. So what I like about the Switch 2 is that Nintendo is refining their original concept and making genuine improvements in pretty much every way, from 120 FPS on
that's
handheld.
big. That's
kinda
huge.
nutty. I think we're past the era of game consoles making these huge graphical leaps with new generations. But the Switch performed obnoxiously well despite how underpowered it was compared to the Series X and PS5. Everything from like the size of buttons to the magnetic grips, my controllers used to fuck up and couldn't connect on the sides. So
yes, I think the magnetic grips is going to be a huge game changer. Like one of my son's Switch, like the actual connection, like it doesn't hold the Joy-Con in anymore. It just like slides out. So it disconnects constantly. And I have, I forget what it's called. It's like a Gamepad Pro. It's basically like an attachment you put like in place of the controllers. But they don't have their own built-in battery, right? They rely on the Switch's battery to work. And so if it doesn't stay connected, they just don't work. So I think the magnetic function, I think that's going to be really good. I hope it's going to be really good. I hope it's not bad, because I could also see it being really bad. There was something else I was going to mention or comment on, something else he said. Let me just... Oh yeah, the quality of like gameplay and stuff, like the improvement to 120 FPS. That's I think going to be really good for the Switch. Like I do see, like, depending on what game I'm playing, like there was a time when I would play Fortnite on my Switch while I was at work. I'd be on the phone talking to somebody playing Fortnite on it, and it's noticeably worse. Like it just feels clunky. It feels latent, you know. So I don't know. I hope this. I have high hopes for the Switch 2, but I also don't know if I'm gonna be getting a Switch 2. I want to.
And Joy-Cons that can be used as a
That's
mouse.
cool.
It's gimmicky
The
stuff
whole
like this that really is gonna make for some hilarious Mario Party minigames.
This looks like it's gonna be really freaking
is actually
fun
inside
to
the game
do.
itself.
Like the
Then there's Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour. It's
Okay, this is-
Miiverse 2.0. My God, but it seems to be.
I feel like this, what they were trying to go with here, with the whole like, oh, being inside of the Switch. I feel like they were trying to knock off the like the PlayStation 5's Astrobot, not the game Astrobot, but the free version of it that comes with the PlayStation 5 to like teach you about functions of the PlayStation 5. I feel like this is a bad knockoff of
playing
that.
off of like Astro's Playroom, which was a great game and a fun tech showcase for the PS5. And guess what? That was free.
Yes.
This is not. What?
Goodness.
But this doesn't even look like a video game. It looks like a series of tutorials. Why would I pay for this? Like,
Yeah.
Come on, man. Give us a free game with the console.
That
if you're gonna
really
charge
should have been
80
free.
bucks. Give
It
us a
should have
free
been
game
free,
or two.
100%.
Like, remember Wii Sports? It came with the console. I do think it's cool that the mouse controller stuff seems like they're still utilizing that old Wii remote functionality, but it's cool. Now it looks like they're also doing upgrade games, you know, what Sony is doing with the PS5, where they're reselling the same game, but, you know, maybe a little upgrade fee for some pretty minute improvements. These are not all that impressive to me. Metroid Prime 4, oh my god, finally. Another game we could talk about that we're actually excited for. Metroid
I've got a
fans
video
have
I'm going to be
been eating like
watching
kings
about
recently,
that after
and
this.
Prime 4 is likely going to be no exception. It's definitely the right call to release this on Switch.
It's been so long, though. I don't remember Metroid 2 and 3. That's the problem I'm having. Like, I vaguely remember Metroid Prime 1, like the first one, and that's because I recently went back and like played the like remaster of it or whatever. And I didn't even play that much of it, but I played enough to like kind of be, you know, it hit my memories. It unlocked memories a little bit. So, like I've got a little bit back from that, but so I don't know like how easy it is to get into Metroid Prime 4 without remembering 3.
And Switch 2, since it was announced before the Switch 2. Feel like a real slap in the dick if it were otherwise. I'm hyped for this. Pokemon Legends. Well, it's a massive improvement from Scarlet and Violet, which, you know, looked a little worse than
Okay, maybe it
N64
is,
games.
but
Pokemon has finally gotten to GameCube level quality. Are you kidding me? Not impressed at all with Pokemon. Then there was this oddball announcement for wheelchair robot basketball.
This actually
Give it to
looks
me, okay. The sports genre side of gaming has been so static, repetitive, and boring for years. We need stuff like NBA
This
Jam or
looks
NFL
like
Blitz
it could
or
actually
wheelchair
be fun to
basketball or
like
Rocket
fuck
League.
around and
This
play.
looks fun. On top of this, Nintendo is partnering with a ton of
All jokes
third-party
aside
studios
there,
to
like-
bring games like Hogwarts Legacy, Elden Ring, Street Fighter 6, Hades 2 to the Switch 2. Also, I did not realize that Tony Hawk Pro Skater
I played
3 and
Hades
4 were getting
1 for a little
remade
bit, but I
because
didn't
doesn't
play it a
say
whole lot.
It's a remake in the title there.
It's a remake? I thought it was like just a remaster. I didn't realize it was a
Ah,
remake.
yes, the long-coveted GameCube emulator, which you can access
It's
for
kinda cool.
free using certain means. Do you like dolphins? I like dolphins. Yo, Soul Calibur 2? Okay, I fucks with that.
Get ready to experience
They always-
F-Zero GX.
Could it be?
The thing about these like Switch emulators is like, yeah, they have a couple of the like really cool titles and stuff, but then they have like just like pages of generic crap that like I've never heard of in my life. We'll see if this one's any better.
F-Zero acknowledgement after so many years. F-Zero GX. So this is a pretty decent lineup for the GameCube emulator. What would be interesting to see is if we'll be able to play these games online. Oh my god! To close out the show, Nintendo dropped 3 bombshells.
This is the one that I'm
New game
upset
from From
about.
Software. People are calling it Bloodborne 2, and it looks incredible. And
Dusk
Kirby
Blood.
Air Riders. Unexpected. Sakurai is directing it. There's a lot of racing games showed off.
I like Kirby. I've grew up playing Kirby games. I'm not a huge fan of racers, to be completely honest. Like, yeah, I mean, I just feel like in a lot of cases, like, yeah, maybe there's improvements from racing game to racing game, but at the end of the day, it's still just a racing game, and it's not anything mind-blowing to me. It's just not my style. Now, that's not speaking for other people, because I know a lot of people love racing games. But, like, I was hoping for a new Kirby game, not a racer. I don't know. I played Forgotten Lands or Realms, whatever it was called, Forgotten Lands. I played it a lot. Like I put a lot of time into it. I think I like 100% the game. I think I literally did everything you could do in the game. But now I want more. I like Kirby.
In this direct. But Kirby Air Ride always felt like such an incredibly fun game that just didn't have a whole lot of content at the end of the day. That game truly deserved a sequel, and I'm happy to see that it's getting one. But now it's time for the big bananas. The big bananas.
I'm surprised he's not covering Duskblood more.
Oh my fucking god!
This game looks like it's gonna be the Mario Odyssey of Donkey Kong games.
Yes.
Just the way that you can break the map and destroy it and just become a monkey. I don't know what you want me to say. It's just this looks like they're bridging the gap between Donkey Kong 64 and all the recent Donkey Kong Country games, which I could not be more excited for. But where is Diddy? Where is Diddy? No, not him. Also, I like how they showed just like 3 seconds of Silk Song after people have been losing their minds waiting for it. So here's where I'm at with Switch 2. The games look great. The improvements to the console itself are much appreciated. That stuff is important to me.
The big problem is
the
price.
Increased price of games
That
over
really
time
is
going to add up. And I'm worried about that. Why are gamers upset with the Switch 2? Well, it's a combination of things, but it's pretty simple.
I think at the end of the day, the console price increasing itself, the console itself being at higher cost, makes a lot of sense to me. The increased games, that's where it hurts, because that is going to add up. Think about that. Think about every single launch game is already been kind of up to 70, and now it's getting bumped up to 80 and 90 in some cases if you're wanting physical copies. Like, you buy 5 games and like that's $50 on top of what you'd normally be paying already. You know what I mean? It's going to add up. I've been expecting it, but I don't like it. I don't know. I think people are just not going to... People are going to be a lot more careful with what they purchase. And so I feel like these really good games that come out, you're going to have to pick one of them. If you're average income or even above average income, like you're going to be picking your favorite of them. You're not going to be picking every single one. Like me, I would love to say, oh, I'm going to buy every single game there. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to buy the Donkey Kong game. I'm going to buy the Super Mario Kart World. I'm going to buy Duskbloods. You know, those are the big 3 that I'm looking at. But to be honest, and it's a big if I get the Nintendo Switch 2, at least for a while, probably just going to be one of them. Duskbloods, more than likely, because, you know, I'm a From South fanboy. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose.
Money. Like I said, folks in the U.S. don't have a whole lot of disposable income right now. And when times are tough, everybody needs an escape. If you can afford that escape. But if you can't, then you're just shit out of luck. If people feel like they can't even...
I'll just be, I guess playing my old escapes. The games that I currently own.
Afford to escape. And that's a pretty worrying sign. And it's not so much a statement about Nintendo's prices, but rather a cost of living that people are dealing with. I thought the presentation was fun, colorful, creative. There's a lot of things to be excited for, but Nintendo is certainly making some questionable choices, and we'll see how it plays out. But those are my thoughts on the Switch 2 Direct. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the Act Man for more awesome content. All right.
Yep, I'm definitely going to give that a like. If anybody watching has not watched the Act Man, which I assume you have, because he's a pretty big YouTuber. So I think he streams and stuff too, but if by some off chance you haven't, highly recommend his videos. They're a lot of fun. He goes a little bit overboard a lot of times, but like I love the Act Man. He's a good people.